So, on balance. Wait, so 8 seconds. Sorry. Okay, let's go. お願いします。お願いします。So we just start vertical. Okay, so I'm going to put a special focus today on, as I did in the evening, this hip, knee, toe alignment, and really using the knee like a hinge, because this is the way it works. And you can have lots of ideas about things, how things work, and sometimes the reality just hits you. So the knee's really just a hinge joint. It doesn't really like rotating, so just try and work on it with a knee, foot. So you're going to fall like this. And anything I do, which is like this, it's really going to aggravate it. So just get the sense of the structure just dropping in. Okay, and then just come into front and back. Just again, just pay attention to the knees. What are the knees doing as you do it? Coming front, forward, and you're basically taking the knee over the foot. So you're going kind of to the front, coming over the toe, and to the back's going over, weighting towards the heel. And just play with it. Bit of balance, front and back. One teacher I saw recently was quite good. He described it was like if you imagine a marble in the center of the body and you're kind of passing it around. So like you've got those marble mazes and you have to tip them to kind of get the marble down the hole. You can kind of imagine like something like this. And this kind of tilting it front and back. Just a little bit with the feet, front and one foot in front. Don't worry about the posture, but just get this idea of the body coming up and over, front and back. Play a little bit with the feet, let them come out of the ground. Play with a kind of wide posture as well. And all the time, just paying attention to the knee. Whatever you do, try not to rotate against it. Or rotate with the knee. Let the hip do the rotations, and let the knee do the bending. Just play with both sides. Good. Start to bring the body a bit more back, a bit more forward. Play with both sides. And then just coming side to side. But especially now in this one, there's a tendency to go kind of over the knee and stress the knee joint. So just get the sense that the knee's always just going to, again, fall into the foot. So it should always just fall in line with the toes. And I don't want to feel that it's going to go over that way and then the knee feels like this. So just really watch out for the knees, listen to them. And the knees give you great feedback on the body, so they're really a key joint to focus on, especially when we're doing kind of grounding work, balancing work, centering work. A little bit with the hands, put them out. That's it, good. That's it, nice, good, nice. Ah, great. Well, you're all super flexible today, you make me jealous. Damn. You're like C3PO. Okay, and then really put the feet down, just going into a rotation. Just start slow with it, so just take it nice and slow. The trouble we got with rotations, we start from nothing and then go wham into it, and then you go clunk. You usually break something, so, or you don't break something, you just make it weaker every time. So Just get the sense that you're gonna very, very slightly rotate. Like you start like one degree, and then you start building it up about 5 degrees, and then about 10 degrees. And just making sure all the time there's kind of a let the knee fall into the toes, let the hip just sink down through the foot. That's it. And just start to make it a bit more flexible. If you like try this one, this is also a nice one. It makes sure the knee follows the toe, but it's also a nice one to stretch the hip. So when you go this way, you're gonna let the foot go this way. So then you basically keep this foot here, and then you basically go into here, and it's basically getting into the hip as well. So you've got like that. So you'll feel this kind of all goes tight as well, the hip. Just try that. So the one foot needs to be quite stable, and the other foot just let it kind of rotate in. Just make sure again you don't twist against this knee. Again, just listen to the knees. It shouldn't be uncomfortable. That's it. Okay, and then we just go to the wave. Just start nice and gently. Really feel that the core of the movement is now really here. So the kind of pelvis, really the underside. Start with like this move, and I want to really like generate something quite strong, but like this is like the core of the movement. And then just start to feel you can let it expand, open out. Also use the hands, because I would actually listen to an interesting talk about one of these TED Talks. It was a talk about TED Talks. It realized the most popular videos are the ones where the people use the hands the most, because we actually like watching people use their hands, and especially when what the hands do mimics what the person's saying. So if the hands are doing the thing that the person's saying, like you go, I got a big box, it makes the idea more powerful. But if I go, I've got a big box, you don't believe the person. So the hands mimicking what you do, or the hands following what you're doing, or what you're saying is also. So just use the hands now, because the hands are really kind of expressive parts. What we use really for expression a lot. So just use the hands, and I basically use them. I imagine a bit like I'm playing an accordion. Is that done? But the hands are actually doing the same motion as I want the center of the body to do. So just play a little bit with that opening out, closing down. You just start to work the whole body. Actually, the good thing with doing this is eventually the hands will just start to follow the hips anyway. So stop having to kind of act like you're doing the handwork, and the hands will just start to follow. So just let them go. Okay. That's it. Nice. Nice. Oh, there you go. Yes, great. Okay, take the same idea, so this kind of wave and using the handwork, and just take any of the directions. So the best thing to do is mix two, or start in one direction and go to another. And that transition of going, let's say I take the vertical, use the hands a little bit, and then I want to go side to side. And this kind of transition from the vertical into the side to side, this is where you'll start to find spiral work. So when you take two directions and you take them somewhere, you start to spiral with it. So just play with whatever direction you like. Find find your kind of favorite. I like this one. No. Depends on the day, but this one, and then just take it somewhere else. And again, just use their hands in a way, keep them in front of the center. But just let them start to kind of mimic what you want the center to do. So this is now much more about the center. and what the hands are doing. So just take them one way. And you can do this a few ways. You can keep to the same direction for a while. And slowly start to move into another direction. Or you can just really play with them, just mixing them all up. Feel very flexible. Just start to play with them totally. We're all the time kind of keeping this kind of wave movement through this, from the center to the periphery. Center, periphery. Center, periphery. Now really including the handwork. That's it. That's it. There was a really famous English artist, and he used to write about art a lot, and he was a teacher of art. And he said one phrase that I always really liked. He said, the hips, the hand, and the eye collude to produce something. So he was a drawer that would always do kind of standing work, and he would use the whole drawer with it. But he said there was a connection between the hips, the hands, and the eye that would, he said, collude, means like work together or work with each other. So he always had this sense that when he drew, it was like this kind of sense. So just work on this kind of sense. It's now like that what your focus is, what the hand is doing, and then what the hip is doing. Just let it all kind of work together. Start to move the feet a little bit. Not really coming into any kind of position especially, but just working, again, the feet, nice and stable, just really moving the hands, the hips. Hands and hips. I know Sensei said something similar about the hips and the hands working together. And almost all the Chinese classics, they talk about hips, hands, this kind of connection. Nice. Okay. Great, very nice. Yeah. Very good. I know what it was. Okay, good. Great. Nice. So we'll just do a little bit of Taijutsu first, and then we'll go into weapons. So just go from yin to Taina Henko. So just take your time, really ground. Feel that when you expand like out the hands, you're also connecting more into the ground. So let everything kind of sink into the ground. That kind of open expansion. And then from here, just take this in 2 steps. You go 1, drop the center in, and then from here, find the back, find the extension. So just really take your time with it. So you've got kind of 3 steps. So at the first, just kind of nothing, finding the extension. The movements are in 2 now. So 1, really find this circle, and then 2, find the back, find the extension, and then just let it go. Find the extension, expansion, sink in, establish this new direction, this new line, and then go to it. Nice and slow, really focusing on the connection, the heaviness in the form. Nice. One of the problems with form work, and this is it's just a way we learn something, or one of the ways we learn something. There's two ways you can really learn something. You learn through play, just through playing with something, or you learn through copying someone. So almost everything we've learned this way. So we tend to, when we do form, and I know this is the case because this is how I learned it. We tend to go into like copying someone's form, and that's a really useful way to learn it. But what it does in a way is we're copying someone else's body and we're trying to assimilate it to our own. And that's really hard work. So what I want to think about is also this flexibility. So don't allow that kind of form work to go kind of stiff and now kind of thinking through it. So try and get the kind of image of what you want, or what I want to copy. I've got it quite clear in my head. That's the thing I want. But for me, it's like a feeling. It's not a shape. So try and get the sense that it's actually much more of a feeling. That it's like, so just look for the feeling in the form and not, it takes a long time to get this because I need to copy someone that's got a very clear form. And they need to do the same thing all the time because if they keep changing everything, I can't copy them. So this is why you need a teacher with a very pretty clear form. So just play with it, that every time you're going to go through the same thing, but try and each time make it more flexible, more fluid. Not fluid in a sense that I'm going to make it kind of soft, but flexible in the sense that it feels kind of free and open. So I'm trying to fit the form to my body. I'm not trying to go into a shape. So just get the sense of this. And just at this very first moment, because it's so important, what I do here and how I do this movement. I'm really stiff today, so hopefully you don't copy this one. Don't copy this one. But just get the sense that each time you work into it a little bit more. So it's something between copying and imitation. You're imitating the movement. So just give it a try. I'm going to give you some technical points because. Nice. Okay. Okay, the main technical point in this is the way you use the hand. So this hand's out. Don't keep the hand in this kind of position. So when sometimes in Aikido we do this movement. So this one, and this is the case, but it's a different movement. In this case, what you do in this case is like this. So that the palm is up. So when you come into this movement, it's a bit like scooping with something. So the fingertip. Saito Sensei used to do this. It's a method like this. He was to put the foot in. You can see on the videos, put the foot in and then point the fingers towards the navel. Up. So he would do dum dum, and then he would do the rotation. Because you see everyone in the seminars doing different things. So this was a way on a seminar to teach people to just put the hand in the right kind of ballpark. But just get the sense that as you come in, let the whole body do it. Whole body goes in, but you're going to find this position. Now the palm is kind of facing up. This, and then find the rotation. That way. So it's like this. And then I can really enter the circle with this one, rather than that way. That way. So the shoulder's quite loose. Open. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Good. Nice. Okay. Good. And if you think about weapon work, I can show you with the weapon a little bit. So if you go to weapon, this is actually about extension work and ultimately connection work. But if you think about the bokken work, whatever you do, however you move like this, you're always going to maintain a sense of extension. You're never going to jam the sword into the body and move like this. But we tend to do this in movements like this. When we do tiny henko bodywork, I have extension, I open everything up, and then it goes to the body, and then I press it out. But you're never really going to get to a point in the Aikido where the arm's going to be pinned into the body. I'm not going to do that myself. That might happen when someone pins the arms to the body or pins the arm into the back. That's something I've got to deal with them, but I'm not going to intentionally do that myself. So I'm not going to collapse the structure into the body. So if this is about extension work, when you do this move, what you need to do is feel that this is constantly extended. So it's flexible, but it's extended. So the feeling goes right into it. right into it. And it's not the case of kind of bending it, emptying the form, and then filling it. Just get the sense that you're from the extension here, it stays, it stays, it stays, it stays. The extension's always on, extension's always there. That way, let's give this a try. That's it, there we go, great. Okay, and again, it looks nothing like sword work for most of us for a long, long time. About 15 years, it looked nothing like sword work to me. But get the sense that you're going to come here, this movement and this movement. You're going to see Saito Sensei, Lewis does this all the time. And you watch it and you go, yeah, I see it, but I don't feel it. But really get the sense that what you're doing with the body, this core, the hips, the hands, the face, the knees, they're all doing the same thing. Now the hands are more open, expansive, just because of the nature of the movement of the hands. But this feeling and this, exactly the same. It's got a purely the same kind of feeling. So just get the sense that when you do this, you're going into a more complex movement, but get the sense of a kind of cut. Now, obviously, you're not raising up and cutting down. That's what's kind of good. That's what gets confusing. But just get the sense that you're going to enter into that position. There. And then come out of it. You start to make it into one movement now. So you kind of flow in, flow into it. Really get the sense of the sword in the movement. There. And it's something that's happening in the hips between the hands. It's the feeling of the movement. It's not the kind of the actual form. Oh, see. That's it. Nice. Okay, and then there's another thing which is similar to the sword for me, which is this a feeling of cutting through the ground. So when you do this movement, this is a bit more of a feeling than the form, but it's related to the form, because if I don't do the form correctly, I can't find this feeling. So what I want to feel is like a line that runs through the ground this way, through the ground and through the space here. What I want to do is have the feeling that the body's going to cut along that line this way. So that means everything's going to kind of stay on the line. If I do, watch this, if I do this with the hand, I cut across the, so it's like going against the grain. But what I want to go is like with the grain, totally. So the feeling is like, if I imagine something on the ground, like this kind of way. And my feeling with the body is to kind of slice through with the body. So just get the sense. And now it means that the hands need to be contained with the center. And if I do this, I won't find that feeling. It will go kind of around. But I want to go like through, directly through the ground. So just get this sense of your, this side. Yeah. Now, so this is a bit more like a Kinonagara form, but just get the sense that you're going to kind of roll it through. But you can do the same with the basic. 1, 2. Just get the sense of something slicing. And it's a feeling from the sword. It's not really a form. That's it. Nice. Good. Great. Nice. Very nice. Good. Okay, we're going to go to one form which for me is like really sword work, really influenced by sword work. So this is a bit easy. I'll show it in steps. It's the first movement, you're like this, you're going to slide in, and you're just going to rotate the body out this way. So rather than now pivoting like this, just keep the orientation of the feet the same. So you go here, this. So that's just the first move. That. And this is where we would go into the Morotadori, go into this position. But we're going to go somewhere else. So you're going to go here, slide in. And now from here, if this is the front, I'm going to go to this diagonal. So I'm going to slice the arm down this way. So just practice this two moves. You go here, slide in, rotate, and then I move the body forward, slice with the arm. So the active arm, just think about, is this one. You can just do this one-handed. It's sort of that. And it's really got a sense of this like slicing. So it's 1, rotate, 2, slice it out this way. Let's give this a try. If you're kind of stuck, just let me know. That's it. Good, Nick, good. Got it. So think about sword work. This is really like a kind of movement like this. So it's like this, this. So the feel with the body in this case, you've got this position. Press the body forward in space a little bit. So if I'm working with a partner, what I'm doing is making space so that my extension will draw them out of the base. So when you do this one, you've got this position and then slide out, slice out to that. So just get the sense that you're going to kind of, you're going to move the body out. So you're here, roll in, and then slice with the body this way. Go 1, 2. 1, 2. That's it. Yeah. Nice. Got it. Again, it's about extension work. So just watch this. When you go in, I don't want to collapse the structure here and then press it out. Keep all the time the sense of this being extended. So it's here. So this is full. If someone was to push against it, it would just hold. But if I go like this structure would press against the body so much. So just get the sense you come in, the extension stays. Now when I go to this movement, the extension stays. It's just going to go along this path. So it's from this position, really strong extension, and then shift it out this way. And then we're just going to take one more step. You take with the back leg, just step through this way. And then you come into full extension with both hands. So it goes like this. 1, slice to the rear, and then step through with the back leg this way. So this is a koki nage, using the whole body. 1, spiral, 2, slice, and then 3, step. Goes that. So you spiral in, slice through, step in. Right. Spiral inside, slice out, step through. Nice. It's always for me the taijutsu work has a flavor of bokken and a little bit of jo. So it's got this kind of mix of a flavor because we train both for the body. So that the kind of work infects the whole system. So get a sense in this case, especially this whole start is really bokkun. So it's like raising the sword up, raising the sword, slicing through. And then this one, you can think of it like bokkun. I think a bit more like Joe. So it's a bit wider, and it's got a sense a bit more like a thrust through. So what you're doing in this movement is stretching the person's arm out into this position, and then you're using this to strike against the elbow. So you're going to strike the elbow and press through with the body behind it. So just get the sense that when you slice out, this step is really like quite like, it's like a kind of ski. So it's like a kind of thrusting motion. Wow, this way. So it's done with extension and it's done with spirals, but it's got this feeling a little bit like the Joe work. That. There's a really clear thrusting motion through the space. So you get here, slice, and then thrust through, right through. Good. That's it, Nick. Yeah. Just like that. Just like that. Exactly. Exactly. Got it. We'll come back to the Joe a little bit. Just isolate that movement out, and then we'll go into the Joe. So the key with that with Joe work, with any kind of ski work, is that I don't kind of exit the back. So get a sense when you do this one, you've got this position now, the hands just there, and then really feel that as you step, this becomes the back. So this is a problem that I'm doing a step. This leg becomes the back, but just watch that I don't go out of the back foot as you do it. So get a sense of your here, and then as you step through, this stay. So it's like an expansion from the back foot. You can move in space with it, but it's not necessary. So you can do this one and adjust the foot. But just if you do like a bit of a smaller step, so I've got this position, this foot, this hand, they really ground the movement. So that. And then feel that this whole side of the body is like an expansion out from this foot. So if I go this way, this, sink, thrust in. So it's got this sense of expansion, lengthening through the body. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And you've got to really like an anchor in the back foot for the movement. Yeah. And this is the difference between hitting someone with the arm and hitting them with the ground. So they will feel like, oh, that hurts, or wham, that's totally immobilizing. So one will just totally knock them out, or knock them away, not knock them out. There we go. Yes, that's it. Yeah, good. And again, it comes back to this idea of like allowing the hands to express the movement of the body, or express the idea that I'm doing. Now I'm expressing the idea of thrusting through someone's elbow joint, like this. So my arm needs to follow that kind of expression. So it needs to have the sense that I'm there. Now the whole body's doing that, and the arm's just the kind of final flourish on the end of it. But get the sense that you're here and then. So there's something happening out of the arm. This is where you start to go into like the wave stuff, but that intention's always there. It's like passing the movement all the way to the tip of the hand. So it's from the center. I really feel like I'm going to thrust through with the whole body, and then through. So thrust through with the whole body. And if I don't feel it, it feels totally empty. So I try and get the sense that. And it's not to do with speed, and it's not to do with aggression. It's to do with intention. And trying to really unify the body. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Nice. Yeah. Okay, great. Take a job, please. We'll do a little bit. So we'll just start with a revision of the 1 to 5, really slow. Just starting with 1 to 3. So the first 3 thrusts. First one to the back. There. Number 2 goes over the top. The position. And then number 3 is to the rear. Changing the foot, thrusting behind. So just run through those 3. So this is number 1. Dopu ski, a direct ski. Number 2, kaishi ski, the counter. Number 3, shiro ski, to the rear. Nice and calm, really full of energy. Really paying attention to the structure, what's happening in the knees, feet. Okay, really try and feel what's actually really important is the kamai. As I come into this kamai, just pay attention to it. There's a tendency for us to kind of put the joke somewhere out there, and for me this is much too far. So that when I go into the movement, I need to reach for the joke. So I don't want to do those kind of things. It's going to destroy the balance. So, and I don't want the joke to be so close that it's kind of tight like this. So I just want the position where it's going to. And for me, that's just that. So just try and feel the point where the joe's just comfortably in front of you, and I don't need to reach to get it. I just draw the joe into the movement. So really feel the joe's right in front of you. It's not over there, and it's not on top of me. Just right in front of me. And then all the movements will be much more contained and much more comfortable because the joe's already locked into the system. So when I go, it goes with me. That's the kind of thing. And I don't want to feel like I'm reaching out to get the joke, especially. So it just goes on. There. There we go. That's it. Nick, when you do number 3, when you do this last one, Nick, take the thumb up. So when you do this one, take the thumb up. So rather than this way, take it this way.
Oh, okay.
And then from here that way.
Thank you.
So it goes kind of thumb up. Yeah, that's it.
Could you just show me the footwork on that number 3, Michael?
Goes. So this one's the one to the rear. So you go like, what we do usually is like break it down. So you go for this. And then from here, take a step back, pressing to the rear. I'll show you from a few angles. 1.
Yeah, thank you.
There's 1. Wait. 1, 2. The back. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, got it. You're in. Good. we'll do 4 and 5. Just separate 4 out and then we'll go to 5. So just thrusting through, rolling back, and then striking forward. Now this also has very much similarities with this movement we've just done. This kind of movement with the hand. Really very similar feelings. So got this 1, draw the jaw back, and then send the hips forward. And this is a strike low to the knee. So this is ski, and daiki goes here. Just a few of this one. Okay, just one point about this, and it's a specific about the footwork, but it will travel up the whole form, make you a bit more grounded. So one of the tendencies we've got with stepping, again, it goes to this, is to just kind of step out the back leg, just kind of lift it up and then place it. So it's a bit like, I always think this is a bit like an elephant would walk. It just picks it up and then brings it down. Now that's one way you can use the foot. It doesn't feel particularly grounded for me, for being a human, so it feels like this, and then I land it. So rather than doing this, try this. It's like dum, dum, and my feeling is to peel out of the back foot. Peel out, travel through. So because the human foot's really, really complicated, you want to use it all, but I don't want to use it like an elephant foot, which is like, boom, just flat and boom, like a big sponge. But the human foot's a bit more complicated. So what I want you to do is really feel that you're using the whole foot as you do it. So the heel, the ball, the arch, the toes, really use them all. You use them all for contact. So you get a sense that you're peeling out, and then I enter the foot fully and then press it forward. And just pay attention to how you're using the feet. And I want to maximize the contact with the ground because that's basically how I stay balanced as a human. Otherwise I fall, or I jump over, or I go around. And I want to go through the ground as I do this movement. So just give this a try. And it's looking like peeling out of the foot a little bit, especially the toes. But this is the problem with again, this structure down, because if I use it incorrectly, then if I start to use the knee like it's going to rotate, this is a bad idea. And basically I need the hips to make that movement. So when you do this, try and avoid it. I'm not going to do it because it's going to injure me, but if I do this and I crunch against the knee like that, then this is going to twist the knee. So I really feel again, it's like a hip flexibility exercise. In the beginning, when we did this movement, this is about the hip. So it's a very similar movement. It's a closing of the hip, but it's not a twisting of the knee. Don't do that. Like this, that. So let that whole structure go, and it's going to do what it does naturally. So it's a bit like doing a kick. I would do like that, go. But I wouldn't try and rotate it around to do it. So just let the hip do that, hip, and then it follows. And then you slide it out. Good. So just let the hip do the rotation. Don't let the knee do it. Ah, good.
Michael?
Hello?
I always get confused with this one when you.
Oh, the sound's gone. Serena, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I always get confused. You know, when you strike forward, does the jaw stop first, or does your foot? Do they stop at the same time, or does the jaw go first and then your foot then after that? I know it's really subtle, but I never know what you do.
Because I want that movement to go. What I don't want to do is the jaw to lead the movement and then the body be behind it. So it's a tricky thing because the jaw is going first in the space. So the jaw is I'm behind the jaw. It's not a case like I'm kind of and then This would be one way to deliver. If I wanted to kind of deliver it with power, I would go that and then deliver it through. That would give me a lot of power. But it's inflexible as an attack, as an attack because I'm walking into the attack and then I'm striking. So I want the feeling of being stable, but the stability is going to come into this here. So that stability is going to be here. So that foot is planted now. The strike. And now. But it actually doesn't matter because I can deliver this with power like this. Because my grounded foot is this foot, not this foot. So I'm not tying the strike into that. This is too simplistic that they go together. So I want the feeling that the weight of the attack is actually grounded in this part of the body. That. So I can actually do this, doing it like this, and then coming through. Because the strike, the impact of the strike is being delivered from this foot, not through this foot. Makes sense?
So is it okay if your right foot is still mid-air when you do the strike? When I say mid-air, you know, like your right foot isn't touching the ground as you strike, is that okay? Or is that going to just take your balance?
If I do this fast, the jaw's gonna impact first because the foot is lower because it's behind the jaw. Just in terms of space, that the jaw will be delivered first, and I'm not necessarily focused in that case in getting the. So that's really too kind of simplistic. The foot's kind of done. So I want something that's like that. Now I can time them together, but I still need that kind of flexibility. But all the weight is actually coming from this side. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so you're grounded with this particular move, you're grounded on just one leg or one side of your body rather than on both the feet. Yeah.
The point is like I'm grounded through this leg, and then the strike comes through. The foot follows.
Okay.
Now I want the foot to catch that movement. So I can show you this sort of thing easy. So I want the foot to catch that. So as I land the center, I want the foot to be in place, but I'm not doing this that way, if that makes sense, because the grounding is coming from this leg, that. So I can actually do it without the front foot, like that, because the weight is coming from here, not from the other foot. That makes sense.
Yes.
And that allows me flexibility.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff. So
okay. Thank you.
That kind of right way of answering, not very simplistic. Okay, so we go to number 5 now. So going again, nice and slow, thrusting through, raising up, pressing forward with the strike. Just do this in nice 3 steps. So you've got the ski position, thrust, really roll back, and then send it through. This way. And again, really focusing on the body. Now you're going to use this last move really like bokken work with the hips. So you've got this clear transition. You've got ski work, rolling up, and then here you're going to use the body like a kind of bokken, as you would do in the bokken work. So much more narrow with the hips. There's 1, 2, roll it back, pressing forward. That's it, good. Nice. So just like a couple of technical details. Watch the foot as you land it. So Serena raised this point about the foot and the weight of it. It really matters how I land that foot. So again, I'm going to be careful not to do it, but just watch as you go here and step through, that you don't go to the side of the foot as you go and then land the weight through it. This will really take you out of bounds because you're working the blade of the foot. So when you do this, really feel that you press through the heel and the foot receives the weight of the body. So get the feeling that you land right in the center of the foot. And then the toes, everything can release, and the body will feel stable. If you imagine like a tightrope in front of you, I want to land the foot straight in the middle of the tightrope. But if I land the foot off the tightrope, then the body goes into these kind of wobbles. So just get the feeling that there's a very clear line in front of you, or like a wooden log in front of you, like a wooden stake in the ground, and I want to step onto it directly. But I don't want to step onto it like this, because you'll kind of fall through the ground with the movement. So just get a sense as you do it, this, something in front, and I'm going to step into it. So there's a kind of impact with the foot. That. But the moment I do that, your body will step through the strike. So just get this feeling like you're stepping with really kind of clarity. Yeah. Okay. That's it, very nice. Good. Great. Nice, Nick. Great, everyone. Good. Good. Nice. You've all got this really more stable now. So just now focus on the handwork. So you've got a lot of opportunity now, especially from this movement. This. So you've got a lot of handwork to do in this movement. So you've got this, you've got this, you've got this as you do it. So focus on the handwork, but focus on its relationship to the feet. So what you're doing with the feet should also have a movement in the footwork. So there's this. So just get the sense that you're tying the footwork and the handwork together and really playing with it. So it's really flexible. And the hand's really going to kind of slice down the jaw, slide down the jaw. Just play it a little bit. So letting the feet and the hands really come together. So you want to kind of tie them together. That's it. Yeah. All right, got it. Bam. Very nice. Boom. Nice. Oh, great. So I'm going to give you three levels to play with. Depending on your level, just choose which one you want to work with. So this is one of my favorite movements to work up to, which is ski hayagaishi. So it's eventually working up to this with the strike. So it's just going to kind of roll right through. But there's a level in between this. So the first level basic is like this: 1, 2, 3, very static. And then the level in between this is to do the movement 1, but make that movement flexible. So the 2, 3 lock, press forward, become one thing. But I still draw the body back. Whoa. So you can play with that level. And if you like, you can also play with the ski hayagaishi. So you can play with just this, sending the body through this way. So just play with this kind of ski yokumen. You've got 1, 2, 3, really basic. Slightly more flexible. 1, 2. And then really fluid. Okay. So just play where you feel a bit comfortable, and if you feel like I'm kind of too comfortable, make it more challenging. Go to the next step. That's it, Adrian. Good. And there's really like a quality shift between them. So they're different technically, but they're different in terms of feeling. The first one's very static, very hard. The second one's a bit more flexible. And the third one's fully fluid. That's it. Yeah. Go. Nice, John. Good. Everyone, before we stop, all the time, whichever one you do, I don't want to draw the feeling back and then do it. So whichever one I do, the basic's the clearest one. I don't want to pull back my energy. So whichever one I do, 1, 2, or 3, my energy is always forward. So my feelings to engage something forward. Everything stays forward. Everything stays forward. Everything stays forward in this case. So I want to include the back in it. I want the movement to come from the back, but my engagement is with something here, not somewhere else. So just get this sense for the last few. Really engage everything forward. That's it. That's it. Yes. Bam, that's it. Good. Nice, Adrian. Good. Bam, bam. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Great. Okay, good. So those are the first 5 forms of the Josuburu, and there's 20 Josuburu. So this is the first set of 5. And these are all thrusting movements. So they all start with the idea of a thrust, and then it goes to a different place. The last movement in the set usually takes you to the next set in the system. So what we do next is we go into Kenkamai. So we start to work with Yokomanuchi work. So from tomorrow we'll work a little bit with this, but the last movement in the set, this striking down, leads me into the next set, which is to work with striking like this. So the first set's thrusting, all the thrusts, and then the next set's striking. We'll look at tomorrow. Hi, domo. Domo.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.